it can be hard to see round some things. As the new year starts, what is it you wish you could see around? I have so many things in my head. You and I could each name political leaders. How are they still here? You can name a bunch of them, right? Political situations that just don't seem to move on. Policies, systemic things you might have been dealing with your whole life. And after 2025, how's it left you feeling? Some things just don't feel like they're ever going to go, ever move out of the way, and you just can't see around them. And that can become almost kind of sacred for you, right? A thing that you won't be happy until you've sorted out. A situation that just won't be right until it's right. And hanging on to your idea of what that might look like, well, it can be hard to see around that. What is it for you? If you're somebody who is kind of trying to do positive change, hold out for futures that are better, you're silly enough to use language like that, right? Like me. You've had another year of seeing things on the world stage just seem to get worse than ever, right? And maybe the most disturbing thing for hopey changey people like us is how many people seem so emotionally wedded to cruelty, living in a cruel country, protesting people who have got so little, and yet this idea of being patriotic, I wanted to take back power in a particular way, as you stand outside hotels with suspiciously well-funded looking flags. How do we see around that? So after my 2025, I'm thinking of a word with a very round opening letter. Ontology. How's yours doing, sweetheart? Mine's changed again this year in some personal ways. Now, you don't need explaining that. Ontology is the study of being. Call it belief systems, ways of seeing. The phrase I've long used is the story you think you're in. You've heard me say that all the time. And I think the story I think I'm in has changed in the last year or so. In some ways, to me, the universe seems bigger than ever. But the reason I mention this is because I think I'm feeling so strongly there's a bunch of things that a load of us can't see round, that are going to be gone, that are going to go. And I don't claim to have particularly intuitive gifts or have an insight or intel here, so what does this mean? I can only share my conviction that I think a bunch of things that seem like we will never be able to see around them, we will never see them moved, could suddenly, like that, be gone. Particular leaders, old men, very, very ill, they will just be gone before you know it, overnight. And the regimes around them may be a lot more frail than you think. And if you're a change maker, you probably know this or believe this a little bit. You're used to thinking about systemic change and all that stuff that quickly sounds pretty academic, but you go to work attempting it, flogging yourself on that epic scale of change. But emotionally speaking, I bet you're feeling like, when are we ever going to see a proper breakthrough that you can feel? I'd like to ask you how much your ontology changed to become somebody who wants to be daft enough to get involved with trying to make change. Because you'll know also, you'll have this conflict, won't you, that change making sounds sort of colonial. It sounds like you're trying to enforce something on people. It's more top down. Is it just the flip side of the old systems that impose everything on us, that hold the capital over our heads, work or die? All this stuff we know is BS. More and more and more we know it. And yet millions of us just can't unwed from it emotionally, can't truly believe that our economics is just a system. And it didn't always used to be here. And it won't always be here. I can sort of feel in my bones like it won't be. And that 26 might be a year where we start to see the evidence of that. I mean, check in a year from now how badly this has aged. But I can feel it as an ongoing movement, that we're at this sort of period in history I feel like I understand more than I ever did when younger, where humanity's sort of ride or die. It's all or nothing at this point, right? And I'm starting to believe this might be what change actually feels like, the real deal. And it might be, as cruelly academic as this statement I'm about to make will sound, I'm acknowledging that we may have to see things become still worse in order for more of us to wake up. And I think it is about waking up. Not because I've found anything special. The story I think I'm in has changed a few times over the years, so I'm now used to the idea. But I'm sharing this because the thing I do have a lifetime of is artistic practices. And I keep doing it even though they've not brought me fame and wealth and an audience. I do them to stay alive. And it means that I am not, I think, as vulnerable to ontological shock. If you have a revelation that upends your view of the universe, that's what you'll feel. I don't know what the symptoms will be like. This sudden, total impact of grief. When motherships decloak over Washington, are we all going to suffer from ontological shock? Is that something that we're all going to feel? When you discover somebody you love who's very close to you has betrayed you, well, that's a prime example. Horrible. And yet we are so vulnerable to cock-ups and to emotional gullibility. We're wired to glom onto things emotionally. And if you're a sensible change maker, you'll know this, right? You'll have it in your head that people, we are wired to be triggered emotionally. And then what we're seeing at an algorithmic kind of speed now is people being triggered so fast they don't get a chance to take a beat. We are not trained or encouraged or modelled to how to take a beat when we're triggered emotionally and think, that's a shadow, mate, innit? That's a shadow in me. What is that trying to tell me? Why was I triggered emotionally before I act on it by posting some toxic shit and adding to the toxicity of our world by just going meh on Facebook or some billionaire-owned platform? Why not take a beat and think, hang on, that's something speaking to me. What is it saying that I haven't dealt with? I know that sounds unreasonably mature, right? And I can't say I always get it right, but I'm at least sort of aware that that's what's the mechanism going on in my brain now. And the algorithm and the billionaires and all the people gaming the system know that's how we all work, and it keeps us busy and it keeps us divided, and you know full well. Why am I saying this? It's because if more of us were makers, practice the creative process every day, we probably would just naturally take a cultural ecological pause and go, oh, I'm feeling this. I wish those guys were not punching down outside the Roundhouse, punching down to brown, to queer, all this stuff that's so obvious BS, so obviously manipulated. But I also know they're my brothers and sisters, and not in all their choices, but in being beamed into this place and time, sharing most things in common culturally. We're all trying to deal with the things that are making us scared and disconnected. And our entire system where we live in the modern world in the mid-2020s is designed to separate us, fill us with fear, build us into a hierarchy. You know this, you don't need me to tell you, but I'm reiterating it because of this word ontology, being. The story we think we're in. With artistic practices you can change it. And when it is changed to you, as most of life just sort of comes at you, you'll have some tools for dealing with the emotional disconnect, with the shock, with the new information. And the more you practice something, the better you get at it, but the more you are something, the more you do something, the more you are something. What are you becoming? This is a time of becoming, a great planetary becoming, I think. And in the privilege, I have so many levels of that. I have to accept what I've got, and part of that is being given space to think. It's sort of my job to, where you haven't got time. Even you as a change maker, you're thinking about so much, feeling so much. Or just as somebody who wishes they could do something better, but you haven't found a way. Go and write something. Go and see something through a lens, photograph something, make something, articulate a story that you want to be in. This is the thing I'm always talking about, because it literally changes the world. Because the whole world is in your head. And when the world does not look like this, right where you are, you can carry a world in your bonds, like an aqualung, like a virtual reality. It's personal sovereignty, mate, isn't it? You carrying your world with you everywhere, so that when you're presented with new information, maybe you can stand, maybe you can assimilate it. These are the cultural tools that we all need and need to be giving our children to cope with the scale of change that's happening. I am, without going into it here, expecting some big revelations. But I also know, at my age, even that is playing like a flickering narrative on a screen in my head, and I'm role-playing, and I'm finding it useful. The what if the world turned out to be this? Much bigger than we thought. Suddenly you're not having to try and get round these blockages, you're above them, you're floating over them. I know that's cute language when you've got a calm day to think, but I think that's how it works. You can sort of find this calmness in your head wherever you are. When you've got the practice to think straight, not be triggered, understand who you are with a lot of grace over yourself. Well, now imagine somebody doing that for you. Showing you grace when you were a total arse. Or forgiving you. I want to see regimes fall, systems change, leaders gone. I don't want sisters and brothers in peril because of your skin colour, your sexuality, your gender, your skill set. All the artists I know who've been vilified for not having proper jobs, just kind of ridiculed and belittled, who doubt themselves more than anybody else does because the system doesn't value their life-giving skills to fashion worlds out of thin air. But all of us can do something of that, and we're not taught how to, because systematically it's dangerous to the system. So in 2026 I'm going to be sharing what I've been up to in the background that's changed my worldview. Project I've been working on for 10 years, the shape of things to hum. In playing around with the themes of science fiction as a silly music artist, it showed me the world in a new way. I did my own art by accident before I really understood what I was doing. It made me question which of these futures that I'm imagining, the big themes of sci-fi, which one's the most likely, I asked myself. You've heard me say this. And that's when I sort of woke up to just how bad the climate crisis is and how interlinked all the systems are. And as I went out and did research, created Unsee the Future, my sort of research platform, podcast and Substack, assimilating what I was finding about the state of the world, I found myself rewriting the story I thought I was in. A world in absolute crisis, the like of which we've never had. Everything changing because everything's built on this one system of capitalistic value, controlled by a few people who are rarefied into functional weirdos and stupid people. Because they have this inculcated fantasy of owning everything and controlling everything. It's lunacy, and it rules the world. And it tells you you're a fool for thinking you can change any of that. But you can. You can. By making, by writing, by practicing a different future, by sharing a different way of seeing and doing things, and sharing it in the pub and everywhere you go, and not pretending to have any answers, just you have your own experience, your own emotional truth that drives you. How can we do that with each other in 2026? When leaders are suddenly gone, when a dream of your security, a nation, turns out to have been poisonous, or just inadequate, or just past its sell-by, who are you? How do you stand? What's left of your ontology, your story? Because the truth is everything's moving all the time, isn't it? I really understand that now at my age. So I'll be sharing music as an artist. I can't wait to. It's weird how it's taken so long. I feel, this weird kind of shame about a 10-year project, and yet all the things I've experimented with as a result I can't feel shame about. It's what led me to here. When you can't see round something, what can you change in your head to understand the thing is probably not the thing? How can you get above it? By thinking like an artist, practicing something. The magician's skill is just practice, it's theatre. It's not actually casting spells, but it sort of has that effect. When you make an experience for yourself to make sense of your inner world, you're creating an experience for someone else. And that does have a magical effect on them, perhaps, if it resonates with the same emotional truth. And that's how they know they're not alone. Because you made something out of your raw emotions. You turned it into an experience. A testimony, yes, but something else again, an interpretation that nobody else could have made, a unique one. Imagine if we were all doing that in 2026. Interpreting our feelings with a beat, turning it into something, a poem, a little performance, an image, or something you could share with others instead of just going about your feelings without even understanding your bloody feelings, because no one is modelling to you how to make sense of what you're feeling. No one is showing you how to be creative and change the story you think you're in. You're told again and again and again, literally, loudly, with threats of violence, and just implicitly in 1,000 silences, that you can't change anything. You can't see around that thing. The flag will always mean this. These types of people will always be here. You're not creative. You can't change a thing. And it is a lie. And I speak to somebody who's not particularly brilliant at changing things. I'm not a risk taker, I'm not a breaker of things. I'm a consolidator and a long way round kind of person. But I know, as a practicing artist, whether people are watching me or not, I change the world every day. And I might be a silly boy in a shed with a particular type of privilege, but then I have to use what I've been given to turn that into something. I've turned it into music that I am privately incredibly proud of, and the 10-year thing has given it a different cadence. I'm kind of ready for motherships to decloak and other things, and then I'll come on here and tell you what blindsided me, what did shake my world. Things will. We're vulnerable. And then what? Always the question is, and then what? Until you're gone. I'm feeling so many weird reasons to be, I want to say hopeful, but that seems a bit flat and silly. It's something deeper than that. It's like things are getting exposed. This might be a year of revelation, this year of the horse. Get on and ride it, man. But it's not a tiger, it's a horse. I don't know, I haven't thought through the analogy. But I wonder if by the end of this year, we'll have not just seen around a bunch of things we didn't imagine we ever would. We'll have gotten far beyond them and above them. You're going to make this a year where you change what's in front of you. Because I tell you what, when you do change the story you think you're in, when you do make a new world, because you can, and you know you can, it becomes quite a ride. And there is one hell of a view.